Okay, Rob, this is Dennis. I'm going to go over your lesson from day one. Take a look at your swing here a little more closely. And your setup is pretty good. As I said before, okay. This camera is just way off of its mark here. It's real good in picking the motion up, but it's touchy with the. See, you've got the basis of a good motion here. The biggest problem you have is that you cast the club. You really throw it early. Like that club is in line with your left arm right now. Do you see that? And that really makes that face of the club hard to control when you come into it. You hit it behind or you hook it if you do hit it. So when you get to the right, I'll take that out of there for you. See, when your hands get down to that right pocket, they got to have a little bit more angle to them, like that. So this is an extreme example, but I still think it would help you. See that wrist, the right wrist here, if you look at his right wrist here, that's a little bit, it's a lot cupped. And you see yours is already out there. Okay, so we got to get that club a little bit more in your fingers and get it a little bit more on top so you can delay this hit already. Your next frame is already gone. That's in line with your right arm now, and you're still at your right pocket. That's how early you release the club. Okay, so next frame for him, his hands are just about the same place yours are. He still has his club back here in parallel to the ground. But see, you've run out of right arm already. You've already thrown the club. I call it throwing the club head at the ball instead of swinging through the ball. So somewhere along the line, you picked up this habit of really early releasing it. And now, as I said, because you flip it that much past your hands, watch where he is at the same point in the swing. So let's say you're at left pocket there, right? Come on, DC. Been a long day. Left pocket, left pocket, left pocket. Look where he is at left pocket. Club is still perfectly in line with his left arm, and your club is already cast almost past your right arm. So at some point to break through this barrier of scoring wherever you are, from the hundreds to the 90s, 90s to the 80s, that has to go. And yours is really pretty one-dimensional too. That is, if we can get that under control a little bit and get you turning, as you're going to see here, and holding, we call it, instead of really throwing that club at it and stopping there, that's going to help us a lot, because it's very hard to predict two things when you release it as early as you do. One is, where does it bottom out? And two is the face, which will generally be closed. If you do hit it to the right at all, it's probably a push. It's not a slice. But when you see, you've already reached low point way back there. So that's either turf behind it, like that, or now you've got this club, because it's so far this way, it's got the loft of at least one or two more clubs. And that's where your high ball typically comes from. So if we can get that, if we can have a little breakthrough on that, even the little bit of golf that you do get to play, you really could break through better scoring zone. You know, it's a whole different plateau you would reach with that. That'll be our goal for the week. Get the club up to the top pretty nicely. Bring it down pretty nicely. Here's where all hell breaks loose. The next one, that already gets flipped. And then you see, because you're flipping it so early, in order to avoid hitting it fat, you've got to pull the handle of the club up. Do you see how much higher your hands and your shoulders are hunching up? That's your way of avoiding fat. And notice that your hips are dead square to the target, and they never really open, ever, really. They're still looking at the target. It's all flipped with your hands. So I'd like to help you out this week by taking your hands out of it a little bit and getting your body a little bit more into it. I think we could really have a good week if we can point you. And it doesn't have to be as much as that model you just saw. That's a professional. But we're not going to strive for that. We're just going to strive for a little bit more quiet hands and more active body. Okay, Rob. I'll see you tomorrow.